Yeah, everybody in the limo. We got my boy Baby Uiie right here. Tell him about the limo, Uiie.
Yesterday morning, a man killed in South LA on Halloween night is the son of a former rap executive and alleged former gang leader.
What was supposed to be a chill Halloween night in South Los Angeles turned into pure heartbreak. Jabari "Baby A" Henley never made it home. Around 69th and Fig, a spot that's seen it all, the 34-year-old son of the well-known and currently incarcerated Eugene "Big U" Henley was gunned down right outside a late-night smoke shop. A shaky cell phone clip caught it all. Flashing lights, chaos, officers rushing to save him. And then that haunting moment when everything went quiet. A white sheet laid over his body while people stood frozen. The air was thick with disbelief. Within minutes, the footage was circulating online, and before long, the streets were whispering while the feds started tuning in.
4-year-old Jabari Henley is the son of Eugene Henley, better known as Big U.
He gonna keep that secret just between me and him.
69th and Fig, this guy just got shot and killed.
It all went down just after 11 p.m. on Halloween night. The block was alive. People in costumes, music bumping from house parties, traffic heavy on Figueroa. The smoke shop lights glowed like usual, open late for the night crowd. Then, out of nowhere, a burst of gunfire shattered everything. When LAPD rolled up, red and blue lights cut across the block, but it was already too late. Jabari was lying in a pool of blood while screams echoed through the air, but no one dared move. Witnesses said Jabari had walked up to a car that had just pulled up outside the shop. A few words were exchanged. Quick, quiet. Then gunfire erupted, fast and cold. No warning, no shouting, just shots. The car sped off before anyone could even catch the plates. Some people swore there was one shooter, others said two, but everyone agreed. Jabari never stood a chance. By the time officers got control of the scene, phones were already out, capturing the chaos. One video showed police performing chest compressions, shouting commands, sirens blaring, reflections of red lights dancing on the storefront windows. Somewhere in the background, someone cried out in agony. Then came the silence, that heavy, bone-deep silence that freezes an entire block.
Police say Jabari was shot and killed near Figueroa and 69th Street after he walked up to a vehicle and someone inside opened fire before driving off.
New details on a shooting we first brought you yesterday morning. A man killed in South LA on Halloween night is the son of a former rap executive and alleged former gang leader.
An officer slowly shook his head and stepped back. Another covered Jabari's body with a sheet. Everyone watching knew exactly what that meant. That clip hit the internet before midnight and spread like wildfire. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, it was everywhere. But what made it blow up wasn't just the tragedy itself. It was the name in the caption, Baby A Henley. People double-tapped in disbelief because anyone who knows LA knows that name carries serious history. It ties directly back to Big U, one of the most powerful names ever associated with South Central streets. By morning, LAPD had the area taped off tight. Reporters were swarming, cameras flashing, and the official statement stayed vague. Male victim 34, shot outside a business. No suspects, no motive. But out here, no one waits for the press to fill in the blanks. The neighborhood detectives, the streets, start piecing things together before the cops even pack up their notebooks. Whispers spread quick. Some say Jabari knew exactly who pulled up on him, that it wasn't random at all. Others claim it was payback, connected to old street politics tied to his father's past. No one could confirm, but everyone had a theory. Some even believed it was a message, a cold reminder that old ties never really die out here.
Yeah, everybody in the limo. We got my boy Baby Uiie right here. Tell him about the limo, Uiie.
Oh man, this is the greatest experience, you know what I'm saying? Really help out in the trenches, man. With that big body all black motherfucker, you know what's going on.
By sunrise, the corner looked different. Flowers, candles, and photos of Jabari lined the sidewalk. The same spot that was filled with sirens hours before was now covered in quiet tears and flickering lights. The city woke up to another tragedy. But this one hit deeper because this wasn't just anyone. This was Baby A, Big U's bloodline. And the streets knew this story was far from over. Candles lined the curb, flickering against the cold night air. Flowers, photos, and graffiti-covered messages marked the exact spot where Baby A took his last breath. The air was heavy. You could feel the pain before you heard it. People came in silence, heads bowed, eyes glossy, some whispering prayers, others just staring down at the blood-stained pavement, like it was speaking back to them. For outsiders, it might have looked like just another tragic headline in South LA. But for the streets, That name, Henley, still carried weight. Because Jabari wasn't just another victim, he was a symbol of how the game never lets you walk away clean.
It's all bullcrap. I just need y'all prayers. I need y'all to... I don't even know what to say.
To really understand Jabari's story, you've got to understand the world he came from. The Henleys were more than a last name. They were a legacy. A mix of power and pain, the streets and the spotlight. Jabari grew up caught between both worlds. On one side, his father, Eugene Big U Henley, a name that still echoes through South Central like both a warning and a myth. On the other side, his mother and siblings trying to live something different, something normal, outside of that long, dangerous shadow. People who knew Jabari said he wasn't the flashy type. He didn't need to prove himself loud. He carried himself smooth, humble, and calm. He was respectful, one person said. He wasn't trying to be Big U 2.0. He knew the code, but he didn't live by it the same way. He moved careful, aware of what came with that last name. Because in South LA, when your ID says Henley, doors either open or close fast. Some folks salute you out of respect, others test you just to see if you're really built like that. And a few, they sit back and wait for a reason. Jabari tried to create his own lane, spending long nights in the studio, focused on music, staying connected but not caught up. He had the talent, and his father's reputation opened doors that most dream about. But out here, the music scene and the streets overlap more than anyone wants to admit. It's hard to chase a dream when your bloodline already tells a story. His younger brother, Diane Henley, went the opposite direction, from Crenshaw High straight to the NFL, joining the Los Angeles Chargers. A true South LA success story! The kind of headline Big U used to brag about before everything went left. Diane's my example, Big U once said in an interview. I came out to save him. I wanted one of mine to make it.
I didn't manipulate nobody. I didn't steal nothing. We did PPP loans. We did 2 loans. And that's it, just like everybody else did. I didn't use no fraud. I didn't give none of fake names.
But when he talked about his older kids, his voice always changed. Softer, regretful. He admitted that years behind bars stole time he could never get back. And those lost years left his sons to navigate the streets on their own. Jabari came up during the storm. The years when South Central was at war, when loyalty and survival were everything. Even when his father later tried to rebuild his image, that early exposure to the life never really left him. Those lessons don't fade. They stay written into your instincts. So when news broke of his death, the city didn't just mourn a man. It mourned a name, a legacy caught between redemption and revenge. Everybody had a version of what happened. Some said it was karma. Some said it was unfinished business. Others just sighed, shaking their heads. We've seen this story too many times before. One son chasing NFL glory, another taken by gunfire, and their father sitting behind bars while it all unfolded.
A nonprofit named Developing Options, which was set up to pull youth out of the gang life and promote anti-gang solutions. Yet Mr. Henley continued to personally orchestrate violent gang activity.
When the news finally reached Eugene Big U Henley inside the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles, everything shifted. Even the air in the city felt different. Big U had been locked up since March 19, 2025, fighting a massive federal case that could change his life forever. But nothing could have prepared him for that call. The one telling him his oldest boy, Baby I, was gone. Because for all the power, fame, and money he once held, that Halloween night proved something chilling. The streets remember everything, and legacy always comes with a cost. Word on the inside is that the one who broke the news wasn't a guard. It was his own cellmate, a man everyone calls Loose Cannon, real name Tima Ashley Williams. He's the same dude listed in the exact same federal indictment as Big U himself. People say Cannon and Big U were tight, like family. He called him UNCC, short for Unc, out of respect. So when Cannon leaned over in that cold, concrete cell and told Big U that his son had been gunned down on Halloween night, everything just stopped. Even in a place where noise never ends, doors slamming, metal echoing, men shouting down the tiers.
Now they're saying, well, Big U's motive wasn't the rap song. It was that he found out that the rapper and his son, Dayon, were lovers. And he was scared that if this got out, he would be affected in the NFL. Now, there's a few key things. One, there's people that have came out in all sports.
That kind of silence hits different. One inmate, Lou Slater, told folks later that both of them just sat there, stunned. No words, no yelling, just heartbreak. Big U didn't shed a tear, they said. He just stared straight ahead, whispering under his breath, "God don't make mistakes." But behind that calm stare, everyone knew something deep was breaking. Because outside those prison walls, the streets were already buzzing. People were asking the real question: what happens now? Would this loss spark something bigger? Big U was already drowning in problems before the call came. The man's facing a 43-count federal indictment, and the feds are not playing with him this time. Prosecutors are painting him as the head of a mafia-style operation they call the Big U Enterprise. According to the paperwork, this so-called empire ran from 2010 until his arrest in March 2025, a 15-year stretch of alleged racketeering, fraud, and intimidation. The charges read like a Hollywood movie. Racketeering, murder, extortion, fraud, robbery, embezzlement, and tax evasion. The feds claim he built a network that mixed street loyalty, business power, and fear like no one else in LA. The pressure's been building for months. Even his own lawyer, Arturo Hernandez, the man who was supposed to defend him, backed out, filed a motion to withdraw from the case, saying there was no communication, no trust.
I want to sign too, Grimy. Look at these two dudes, Uiie and Nipsey Hussle.
That's when Big U told the court he couldn't even afford another lawyer, that he might have to represent himself if it came to that. And before walking into federal custody, he went online and dropped a video for the world to see. His last words before the silence. He called the whole case garbage, said it was another example of a powerful black man being punished for trying to uplift his community. He pointed fingers at certain industry names, hinting that some were secretly working with the feds. And Street Talk says the paperwork even mentions that Big U once bragged he had connections all the way to the Orange Man. Yeah, that one. To help get his case dismissed. He denied all of it, claiming the system just couldn't stand to see him win. Now, with his trial locked in for May 2026, the clock's ticking. The man who once had entire blocks under his influence now sits in a cell, trapped between time and fate. But when Cannon told him his son was gone, that broke something deeper than any sentence could. People close to him said he went quiet in a way that scared them. Like the man everyone once feared had finally hit a wall he couldn't climb. For all the money, muscle, and respect he once held, he couldn't protect his own blood. And out in the streets, the whispers grew darker. If they can touch Big U's son, who's really in control now? That question hung over LA like a cloud. Because according to those who've seen the paperwork, the Big U case isn't just about one man. It's about a whole blueprint. The indictment lays it out piece by piece, saying Big U used every connection he had, in politics, in the music game, and in youth programs, as cover for something bigger. The feds claim his outreach work was just the public face of a deeper network they called the Enterprise.
Eugene Henley once managed Nipsey Hussle and is alleged to be the former leader of the Rollin' 60s Crips gang.
According to investigators, he used his reputation as an OG from the Rollin' 60s Crips to build influence in multiple arenas, from city offices to record labels, turning respect into leverage and leverage into money. They said the Big U Enterprise blurred the line between giving back and taking control, between business and intimidation. To the feds, it's a criminal empire disguised as community work. But to the people who grew up under his watch, it's more complicated. Because whether you loved or hated him, Big U ran LA in his own way. And now, with his son gone and the streets shaking, everyone's wondering, what happens when a king loses both his freedom and his heir? According to the feds, Big U's reach didn't stop at the streets. It stretched right into the system. They claim he used his name and reputation in the neighborhood Crips to keep people in line or in debt, depending on how they played their cards. And those so-called legit projects? The government says they were just polished covers for moving money. His non-profit, Developing Options, which was supposed to be about saving kids and rebuilding communities, is now under a microscope. Between 2018 and 2023, it reportedly pulled in $2.3 million from LA's GRID program.
What's your perspective on what his involvement could have been with the Nipsey situation? What do you think about that?
He absolutely was involved in Nipsey's situation, and people, they don't want to say it. They're scared to say it. That's fine. I'll say it for you. He was involved with the Nipsey situation.
Money meant for gang prevention and youth mentorship. But according to investigators, a chunk of that cash never reached the programs it was meant for. Instead, they allege it was funneled into Big U's personal accounts. Even big-time donors got dragged into the paperwork. Names like Draymond Green and Shaquille O'Neal popped up in the filings as people who unknowingly contributed to what prosecutors now call a money funnel, disguised as community service. And it didn't stop there. When the pandemic hit, Big U allegedly joined the wave of what the feds call COVID hustles. Prosecutors claim he submitted fake documents for his music label, Unique Music, claiming the label earned $200,000 in revenue when, in reality, the books showed losses. They say that false paperwork helped him pocket federal relief money, cash meant for struggling businesses trying to survive lockdowns. But the story takes an even darker turn. The feds say they've got evidence linking him to extortion and check-in schemes that went far beyond rumor. Anyone familiar with LA knows checking in is part of the culture. It's about respect and safety. But according to the indictment, Big U made it official. They claim artists, athletes, and even brands had to pay up to move safely through the city. The court papers even cite a moment from Hip Hop Uncovered, where Big U referenced rapper Quando Rondo saying, "Some people wait too long to make the right calls." The feds say that wasn't just talk, it was business policy. Then came one of the wildest claims of all, a rigged dice game that sounded straight out of a Hollywood script. The feds allege it involved a professional boxer and 2 NBA players. When things went sideways, Big U allegedly handled it personally, ordering his guys to rough up one of the players and collecting a $100,000 fee to settle the situation. That's not street talk. That's written in the indictment. And the darkest chapter? The story of Ray Sean, a young rapper signed to Big U's Unique Music label. Prosecutors claim Ray Sean dropped a diss track aimed at Big U, with lyrics about getting shot in the face with a .38. Soon after, they say, the track became reality. According to their version, Big U and a co-defendant drove Ray Sean out to North Las Vegas, shot him multiple times in the face, and left him near a landfill. Authorities claim surveillance footage was deleted, witnesses were threatened, and anyone who knew too much was told to stay quiet or disappear. But the whispers on the streets tell a colder, more twisted version. According to that talk, Big U allegedly discovered something that cut deeper than betrayal. That Ray Sean wasn't just his artist, he was his son's lover. If that rumor holds any truth, this wasn't about business or loyalty. It was personal, raw, and rooted in something that shattered his family from the inside. Authorities say Big U tried to clean up the aftermath, deleting footage, silencing witnesses, and scrubbing connections. But whether any of that will stick remains to be seen. Still, after what happened to Baby I, people are starting to wonder, is this the feds trying to bury a legend? Or is someone making sure the whole Henley legacy burns from both sides? Inside the system and out in the streets. In Los Angeles, pain runs deep, but for Big U, that pain feels generational. The night his son was gunned down, the city felt a shift. Some called it karma finally catching up. Others said it was a warning, that no matter how powerful you once were, every move comes with a cost. Because Big U isn't just a name, it's history. He's been around too long, connected to too many stories that ended in blood. The same man who once managed Corrupt and mentored Nipsey Hussle is now watching his empire collapse from a federal cell as both the feds and the streets close in from every direction. Now, Big U sits behind bars while his own son's name hits the headlines, and the irony's not lost on anybody. To a lot of folks, it feels like history looping back on itself, only this time, the pain cuts straight through family. Back when Nipsey Hussle was alive, his bond with Big U was powerful but complicated. They started off like mentor and protege, the OG and the young visionary. But somewhere along the line, that bond cracked. Word on the block was it all came down to 3 things: money, music, and respect. Nipsey had his own dream, his own way of doing things, while Big U still moved like the streets he came from, where respect flowed one way and hierarchy ruled everything. One story that's been whispered for years is about some studio equipment, something small that spiraled into something ugly. Nipsey allegedly called Big U out in a diss track, and from there, things got real. In Hip Hop Uncovered, Big U himself admitted there was discipline involved, that he tried to check Nipsey, but it all went sideways when Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, stepped in. What happened next? Chaos, gunfire, anger, a standoff that left a line drawn deep between family and the streets. LAPD logged it as just another South LA incident, but everyone who really knew what time it was understood that moment changed everything. And when Nipsey was killed years later, those old rumors came roaring back. People said Big U knew something before it went down, that he'd been tipped off. His co-defendant, Loose Cannon, even told folks that Big U got a call about 30 minutes before the hit. Nothing was ever proven, but the whispers stuck like glue. And once Nipsey's name became legend, Big U's name got dragged through the dirt all over again. That fallout cost him more than just street rep. Deals disappeared overnight. Word around the industry was that even Kanye West pulled out of a $3 million partnership when the rumors got too hot. The image of Big U as a community leader started cracking fast, and people didn't know what to believe anymore. Was he still the reformed OG trying to save his city, or the puppet master everyone warned about? And now, with Baby I gone, those old dots are connecting again. Jabari was young, hungry, and carving his own path. A rapper walking the same blocks his father once controlled. His brother Diane had gone legit, making it to the NFL. But even he couldn't escape the shadow. He was close to Rayshawn Williams, the same Rayshawn the feds say Big U had killed. That's the kind of connection that makes the streets murmur. Too close, too cruel, too perfect to ignore. Some say it's all coincidence. Others call it karma circling back with precision. Big U's empire is cracking under federal fire. His family's fractured. His name, once shouted with fear and respect, now drifts through Crenshaw like a ghost. In LA, they say every loss comes with a lesson. And maybe Big U's lesson is this. The same streets that raise you will always come to collect what's owed. When the news of Jabari's death broke, LAPD called it an active investigation. But the streets had their own conclusions before the cops even zipped the body bag. Some said it was revenge. Some said it was personal. And others whispered that Jabari knew exactly who pulled that trigger. But inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, when Loose Cannon broke the news to Big U, the same Loose Cannon the feds call his right-hand man in that 43-count RICO case, there was nothing left to say. He just told Big U, "We'll get through this. God don't make mistakes." But even God might have trouble untangling this one. Because while the city mourned Jabari, the feds were building their biggest case yet. They've reportedly stacked up over 20,000 wiretapped calls. Phone conversations painting a story of loyalty, fear, and control. One of those recordings, insiders say, captures Big U's voice, cold and direct, telling someone, "Don't talk about the Rayshawn thing." If that tape is real, it could blow the entire case wide open. The feds say it proves he's still running things from behind bars, still calling the shots. That's why prosecutors pushed to keep him locked down with no bail. They told the judge flat out, if Big U walks free, witnesses vanish. The judge agreed. No bond, no breaks, no mercy. And as the investigation stretches deeper, the evidence pile keeps growing. FBI agents claim they've pulled video clips, text threads, hidden camera footage, even old Instagram lives pulled straight from private servers. One agent even called it the most complete picture of a West Coast criminal empire since Death Row Records. But outside those federal walls, people aren't all convinced. To some, Big U is still that man who gave back. The guy who started youth programs, coached kids, and partnered with city leaders to rebuild what violence had broken. They see someone who tried to flip the script and still got hunted. Others say this is just what happens when the game catches up, that nobody, no matter how powerful, escapes forever. As for Jabari's killer, silence rules. LAPD says the motive's still unknown, but that doesn't mean nobody knows. Out there, silence is its own language. The viral video of Baby I's last moments, the flash, the screaming, the collapse, it loops online every day. For some, it's just another South Central tragedy. But for others, it's a warning, a message that no matter how high you climb, the past never stops reaching for you. Now, with his son gone, his trial locked for May 2026 and the walls closing in, Big U faces a reckoning too deep for the streets to rewrite. His empire's in shambles, the evidence is stacking, and the whispers of betrayal, revenge, and bloodlines are louder than ever. Because in LA, the game never really ends when the feds move in. It just changes who's left standing when the smoke clears.